Welcome to Stetson Law Live, an online, interactive, informational event for prospective students of Stetson University College of Law. Your host today, Executive Director of Communications, Frank Klim, and his guest, Assistant Dean of Admissions and Student Financial Planning, Laura Zuppo. Our topic today, the JD Part-Time Program.
Welcome to Stetson University College of Law. I'm Frank Klim, Executive Director of Communications here at the College of Law.
I'm Laura Zuppo, Assistant Dean of Admissions and Student Financial Planning. Welcome. Thank you for spending your lunchtime with us for what we hope is an interactive forum to talk about our part-time program.
And before we do that, as you're getting ready to type in your questions, and we encourage you to do that, if you're watching us on tape delay for any reason, you can certainly send an email with those questions. So if you're watching us later in the evening when this is not live, we encourage you to do that. If you're joining us live, please type in those questions at that point, and Dean Zuppo will answer as many as we can get to. So before we get rolling on this webinar, we thought we would show some comments that we recently recorded for some of our part-time students. So Stan, if you'd roll that video, please, that'd be great.
What's the greatest advantage of the part-time program at Stetson Law?
The Stetson Law part-time program gave me the opportunity to gain professional, real-world experience and go to law school at the same time.
The Stetson Law part-time program is great because it allows me the opportunity to continue to work and gain experience in my current career path.
The part-time program is the best of both worlds. You get the challenge and the flexibility.
I am a recent immigrant from China. Stetson Law part-time program utilizes a unique and proven method to help diversity students like me to achieve academic success.
The unique life experiences of all the part-time students really enhances my learning.
The part-time program allows me to be able to sit in a classroom with doctors, police officers, and other professionals that add so much to my own experience.
The professors recognize my experience in the corporate world, and they build on that.
The program also provides a small collegial environment which has tremendously accelerated my integration into the local community.
As you can see, our part-time students come from all walks of life, all kinds of professions, and even various parts of the world. So go ahead and continue to type in your questions, and we'll answer that as many as we can. And again, if you're watching on tape delay, send us an email and we'll get to those as well. Dean Zuppo, what are the advantages, you would say, of earning a part-time law degree from Stetson?
There are a lot of advantages to going to law school part-time. For one, and I think probably the most important, is you can stay working. And many of us today, we really need that paycheck, the health insurance, and the wonderful benefits that our employers provide. And if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to earn the JD, and you need to or want to stay working, there is no better way to do it than going part-time. Also, we have students who are caretakers. They have children or other relatives that they take care of during the day. And the only way they could pursue a JD is if they go to school at night.
One of our distinguished alums is Rich McKay. He is the general manager of the Atlanta Falcons, and while he says in a recent speech, he spoke to some of our students recently and said that while he doesn't review contracts on a day-to-day basis anymore, the skills that he picked up at Stetson are the essential ingredients in helping him perform his task.
Absolutely. In fact, our dean always says that lawyers have to have two very, very developed, refined skills to be successful, no matter what kind of law you go into, and that's writing and advocacy. And I know Rich McKay has both, and we're pretty proud actually of both of those for Stetson. We are ranked number 6 in the nation and have been ranked very, very highly since the beginning of those rankings, and that ranking is actually in legal research and writing. And probably our crown jewel is our advocacy program. We have been ranked 16 times and counting as number 1 in the nation for advocacy, and Stetson does it the best. And if you would like to become a very strong advocate, both orally and in writing, this is probably the top place in the country to do that.
One of the things I think that sets Stetson apart from a lot of other schools is we have 7 courtrooms, and we talk about our practical skills-based training. Do you want to talk about that for a moment?
Absolutely. I think that if you are trying to become prepared for the practice and you want to be ready to hit the ground running, there's no better way to do that than getting your feet wet by having your skills classes and your research and writing 2 class in a courtroom. You're going to have the opportunity to practice your oral arguments, present evidence. You are going to be able to do that whether you are a full-time student or a part-time student. And we are proud of our facilities. They ensure that our students are comfortable from the very, very first day on the job. And in fact, we actually have an anecdote about one of our recent graduates who had her first hearing, and the judge called her up to the bench and said, "I haven't seen you in my courtroom before." And she was excited, and she said, "Well, that's because I haven't been here before." And he said, "Well, where were you before this?" And she goes, "This is my first case." And he said, "You must be a Stetson grad." And we were pretty proud of that, and she was really excited and shared that with the dean. But we know that when our students leave here, they're going to be prepared, and that's essential today.
And another thing that Stetson prides itself on, I know, is our bar preparation, our career development services. You want to talk about that for just a moment?
Absolutely. I think it's important that part-time students really realize both their availability and their limitations. And bar preparation and academic support, they will work with you to figure out a way to incorporate your home responsibilities, your work responsibilities, and your schooling. And if you're struggling in the classroom, they're going to work with you through our academic success workshop on time management, how to read and brief cases, exam taking techniques, and how to get through the curriculum. Many of our students have been out of school for 5, 10, 15, 20 years or longer. So this is a whole new endeavor for them, and they're not used to being in school in the technical age, let's say. So academic success really does help you from the beginning. And then there's almost this transition midway through where you go from academic success to bar preparation services. And our bar prep team will work with students to develop individualized study plans, which is wonderful, and they'll take into account your needs. If you have to continue to work, perhaps your job won't give you a leave of absence, they'll work with you to figure out the best study course and the best study plan. That's probably why we are #1 currently in the state for bar passage. It's something we are extremely proud of. Our students and our administrative staff and faculty work very hard to support that bar passage.
So for students who are examining the entire part-time law school experience, so what's the duration of the program for a part-time student?
Students actually have a couple of options. If you want to start out part-time and stay part-time the entire way through, it's 4 years. You can speed that up a little bit, or you can slow that down. We actually permit you to take as long as 6 years to finish it up. We've had students who for some reason have had to take a leave of absence for health, family, pregnancy reasons, military deployment, and we're very proud to be able to assist our students with those unexpected situations. Now, some students want to do it in a faster paced, more aggressive manner. They may convert to the full-time program after about 1.5 years. Before they will, before that, they're going to be in a cohort, and we're going to tell you what courses to take, where, and when. For other students, they stay part-time, but they take a very, very heavy load and may finish in about 3.5 years. So there's a little bit of flexibility, but nothing until really you get into the elective or the elective upper-level curriculum.
Very good. So if you're just joining us now for this webinar, don't worry, you haven't missed a whole lot. You'll be able to catch this on a replay later. If you're just joining us, we invite you to log in your questions, and we'll ask those of Dean Laura Zuppo, who is here, who is our Zen master of all things admissions and financial planning, and she can help those. So we were just talking a moment ago about bar passage rates. There's also a tremendous amount of, we were talking about Stetson's practical skills training a moment ago. And do the part-time students have the opportunity to participate in clinics or internships and programs like that to get that hands-on experience?
Absolutely. You can participate as a part-time student in as much or as little as you can fit into your life schedule. If you have a very flexible job that would allow you to participate in a more traditional daytime opportunity, at, say, the federal courthouse, you are able to and encouraged to participate. Some of our part-time students, however, cannot participate in the 8:30 to 5, 9 to 6 type of clinic or internship because of their work responsibilities. So we have a couple of clinic and internship opportunities, such as the homeless advocacy internship managed by Dean Adams. That one has a lot more flexibility and is perfect for a part-time evening student. We also offer courses, and those are skills courses, which are a little different from clinics and internships, which are held off campus. A skills course such as trial advocacy, pretrial practice, interviewing, counseling, negotiation, mediation, and the like are held on campus, and we do hold those at night so that our part-time students can participate.
Dean Zuppo, we have a couple of questions. One is, can the JD students take courses online?
Okay.
And the second one is, give us an example what the first year is like course-wise for part-time students.
I'll take the online piece first because that's actually a very important topic. Currently, the American Bar Association, which is our accrediting body, they have a rule, a standard, saying that you cannot take more than 12 credit hours of online education for the JD. We will also further qualify that and say we limit how many credit hours you can take in any given semester. But what is wonderful about that is we have a great distance education offering. We do it right. And I know Dean Adams and I were both a little bit skeptical about how you can do distance education and law school and do them both and do it well, and we do. We offer a course called Multi-State Strategies online. It's fantastic for part-time students and full-time students. Now, there is talk at the ABA about increasing the number of credit hours that law students may take online. I guarantee you folks, it will not be a full curriculum. There is too much need for interaction and dialogue and engaging and having faculty correct posture during a skills class. You need to plan to be at class physically.
Okay.
Now the other question, which is a great question, is about the structure of the 1L curriculum. Typically you're taking 2 courses in the fall, 2 courses in the spring, 2 courses in the summer, and 2 courses in the fall. That 2, 4, 6, 8 is dictated by us. It could potentially change from year to year. I will share with you as it stands right now. You're going to school Monday, Tuesday, Thursday evening, fall and spring of your first year. You will be 2 nights Tampa, 1 night Gulfport, or some kind of combination. The first summer is 4 nights. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Again, that could change. They may choose to do only 2 nights. You're also taking 2 courses, and it's split, and sometimes it's all Tampa, sometimes all Gulfport, or a split. All of that is subject to change. Now, when you get into your second fall semester, you actually have a little bit, you'll have a couple of optional things, but typically you're doing 2 courses. Once you hit that second spring semester, you can continue on with your sort of gen eds, we like to call them. It's sort of I don't know how else to explain it, but remember in college you could take a history, but it could be one of 10 choices. We have that too. It'd be a writing requirement, a skills requirement, an administrative law requirement, etc. So you have some additional required courses, but you have more choice. And if you can go to school during the day, you can be a part-time student in the elective curriculum during the day, or you can stay all at night. So really the first year and a half is the most inflexible part of your education, and after that you have a little bit more control. Students actually tell me they like knowing what they have to take, when they have to take it, and where they have to take it, because it really helps them plan their schedules.
And that's much the same, isn't it, for the full-time students? There are just courses they just simply have to knock out and get out of the way.
Yeah, full-time students are going to do, in the fall they're taking 4, and in the spring they're taking 4. We tell them the same thing. Here's what you're taking, when you're taking it, where you're taking it, and with which professor.
Now, you mentioned some summer school, but that doesn't mean that the part-time students don't have a break. They actually get some breaks during the year.
Oh, they do, yeah. Between the spring semester and the summer, it's about 2 weeks. Summer is about 8 weeks, and then there's about 3.5 to 4 weeks between summer and fall. Also, between fall and spring semester, it's about a month. So if you're planning vacations, family time, if you're planning to just take a mental health break, that's a great time to do it. Many of our students actually save their vacation time for exam study and exam period because they want to make sure they invest as much time as possible. So you'll figure out the right balance for you and your family.
Very good. So if you're just joining us on this webinar, let's see, over here, I guess, okay, we are talking about Stetson's very specific, unique JD part-time program. And with us today is our Dean of Admissions and Financial Planning, Laura Zuppo. And we're able to take your questions online live if you're watching us now, and we encourage you to type as many questions as you'd like. And if you're watching this on a replay and you have a question that's not been answered, shoot us an email and we'll be able to take care of that. Right over my shoulder are a look out this giant window of at least a portion of our campus. And a lot of people ask us about our location. In case you've forgotten, we're in Tampa Bay with a main campus and a satellite campus. Dean Zuppo, talk about our location. I know that's one of the most common questions you get.
It is. It's actually one of the reasons many people choose to come to Stetson. We have a beautiful facility. In fact, we have, I believe, 24 acres just here at the Gulfport location alone. Stetson is very fortunate to have a beautiful architecture. It's the old Spanish Mediterranean architecture. It was originally a resort in the 1920s. And when we built our satellite facility, or our Tampa Law Center in downtown Tampa, we made sure to retain that same architectural integrity. The facility, being a former resort, has some really unique advantages to it. It's sprawling, it's beautiful, beautiful greens, and the students find it a beautiful and wonderful place to study. Our library is 3 stories, and it's one of the largest law libraries in the Southeast, and we actually have a law library in our Tampa facility. Students tell me the law librarians are some of their favorite people because they're always ready to help and are engaging and delightful. We happen to be about 10 minutes. The Gulfport campus is about 10 minutes from the St. Pete Beach area in downtown St. Pete. The Tampa facility is literally right downtown Tampa, and it's perfect. It's close to the courthouses and a lot of other law buildings. So we happen to have about 225 part-timers and 760 full-timers, and the part-timers get to experience both campuses, and they really tell us they enjoy that.
And so an interesting thing about the Tampa Law Center is that there is a working courtroom. It's one of the first law schools in America to share space with a working court. In this case, the Second District Court of Appeal. And there's this massive courtroom on the first floor that students can participate in all kinds of exercises.
Absolutely. We're very fortunate that the Second District Court of Appeal has space with us, and the Tampa Division folks are fantastic. In fact, we have a couple of alumni there, and when they get off of work at night, our students are coming in, so there's a lot of opportunity for dialogue and exchange, and some of the judges have served as adjunct faculty for us too. And when the proceedings are open to the public, our students have the opportunity to actually, both full and part-time students, observe the proceedings. But it's great having a working court and all of the staff that support the court right there on our facility.
So we're doing this in early April. What's the timeline for part-time students or folks who are interested in the part-time program to apply?
Actually, it's now. If you're looking at fall 2014 and you haven't already begun the process, you're not too late, but we do need to talk with you. In the background over here are Darren Kettles, our Associate Director, and Carmen Johnson, our Assistant Director of Admissions and Diversity Initiatives. And we would really love it if you would reach out to us to set up a time for a one-on-one counseling session so we can help you get ready for this deadline of May 15th. If you're looking at fall 15 or farther out, you're in great shape, and we'll help guide you and help you establish sort of a plan of attack. So for my fall 14 folks, if you have not yet taken the LSAT, it's the law school admission test, you can actually take the June exam and you can apply for fall. As long as you indicate to us sometime prior to May 15th that you're hoping to apply, and you get something in the works, we will accept the June LSAT administration. It is not too late. But again, please get in touch with us. Please reach out. We're happy to walk you through the process. Many of our part-time students are out of college for a while, and they don't have a pre-law advisor or a pre-professional advisor, on their campus because they're working. We can serve in that capacity and will assist you.
So you led into one of the questions I had, which is, what's the average range of part-time students? And I know there's some exceptions in our student as well as anything else in life. So
Absolutely.
Give us an idea of our student body in the part-time program.
I happen to really enjoy working with the part-time students, and our faculty do, and I think that's probably another topic for us too, is talk about the faculty. But part-time students really do come from all walks of life. It was fun to watch the video that Stan played for us at the beginning. We have a businessman who is a father of a very, very, very new baby. We have another woman who is a journalist and works locally for a paper. We have a young woman who's a mother. I mean, we have all kinds of students. Every year we seem to attract 1 or 2 doctors. Several times we've had nurses, but we frequently also have educators and police officers. We have the traditional age student who's landed a great job and doesn't want to accrue a lot of debt. Because remember, full-time students are not able to work, are not allowed to work more than 20 hours a week, and are strongly discouraged from working their first year. So many of our students, being very pragmatic, will establish, hey, this is my goal. I don't want to accrue this much debt. I want to establish a plan, and I'm going to work, and I'm going to go to school part-time, and I will finish that JD. And so students are all age ranges. We typically have an average age in the low 30s, but they range from the low 20s up to the late 50s. And I think after the first couple weeks in class, people don't notice that age difference. People stop forgetting that they're out of school for a while, and they just start having a great dialogue. We actually have a very, very cohesive part-time program. Each cohort tends to be really tight-knit. They travel with each other in their classes for 1.5 years. You get to know your classmates well, and most of the people are going to stay in the Tampa Bay area to practice. So these will be your colleagues. These are the people you refer clients to. They will refer clients to you. You may be on opposing sides of a case, and so they get to know each other and become pretty tight-knit.
Okay, very good. If you're just joining us, let's see, I'm over here. I keep looking at the wrong one. If you're just joining us, in just a moment, we're going to play a very short video, and we got some comments from some of our part-time students. So, Stan, let's have that on the ready, because we were talking about who our part-time program students are. So if you're just joining us, welcome to the Stetson University College of Law webinar about our part-time JD program. And Stan, go ahead and roll that video if you would, please.
What's the greatest advantage of the part-time program at Stetson Law?
The Stetson Law part-time program gave me the opportunity to gain professional, real-world experience and go to law school at the same time.
The Stetson Law part-time program is great because it allows me the opportunity to continue to work and gain experience in my current career path.
The part-time program is the best of both worlds. You get the challenge and the flexibility.
I am a recent immigrant from China. Stetson Law part-time program utilizes a unique and proven method to help diversity students like me to achieve academic success.
The unique life experiences of all the part-time students really enhances my learning.
The part-time program allows me to be able to sit in a classroom with doctors, police officers, and other professionals that add so much to my own experience.
The professors recognize my experience in the corporate world, and they build on that.
The program also provides a small collegial environment which has tremendously accelerated my integration into the local community.
Welcome back to our webinar about Stetson's unique part-time JD program. I'm Frank Klim, the Executive Director of Communications, and with me is Dean Laura Zuppo, who is here really the person to answer all of your questions about how the part-time program works, what the campus is like, and one of the questions we commonly get is the LSAT. Do you want to explain what the LSAT is and why this is so very important?
Well, the LSAT is a standardized test. It's about 4.5 hours long. and it's administered by the Law School Admission Council. And it's really looking at your critical thinking skills, your reasoning skills, logic, and of course, it's going to make you do all of these things and answer all of these questions fast. So it's a very typical standardized test in that you have a lot of questions to answer in a very short period of time. Now, there's one section that we call the games, there's a reading comprehension section, and then there's an analytical reasoning section. There are ways to learn how to take this test.
Which is one of the things I wanted to ask you about. So it's something you really should dedicate some time,
yes.
And because how you score on the LSAT depends on what?
Right. The LSAT is one of the top 2 most important factors in determining admission. Excuse me, it's one of the top 3 most important factors. The LSAT, the undergraduate GPA, or an entire academic record, as well as your personal statement. These are very, very important elements in the file. The LSAT is tough because the longer we're out of school, the harder it is for people to get back into sort of the swing of taking standardized tests. It is scary, but it's not scary if you practice.
Good.
You have to practice. You have to just tackle it head on. There are preparation courses out there. There are a number of them in the Tampa Bay area alone. There are tutors available for you to meet with. You can study on your own. There are online tutorials. The bottom line is study. I usually encourage students to take at least 6 to 8 full-length timed exams and at least give themselves 2 to 3 months preparation time. Don't take it cold, everyone. Please prepare. And that's,
so ramp up for it.
Ramp up for it. And everybody's nervous about it, and you're going to be fine if you just study, study, study. Now, the other element really is that personal statement, and that's where we look at your writing. You have to learn. You have to come in with a good, decent skill set already. It's very, very, very important that your personal statement show polished writing, persuasive writing. We want to see a clear, concise, and organized document. We want to know that you've done the research and law school is truly what you want to do. It helps us learn a little bit more about you as well.
So take your time.
Take your time. Absolutely.
Take
have
your
somebody
time.
edit
Think
it.
about how you want to communicate your personal values and that sort of thing in your statement.
Values, yeah, as well as your passion for the study of law. Why law? Frequently I say that to people, why do you want to go to law school? And they'll say, I want to help people. I'll say, okay, that's fair, but why law? Why can't you help people with a master's degree in social work or education or in public health? Why is law degree the right way for you to achieve that goal? The other factor, and since we're talking sort of about the admissions factors, is the entire academic record. Part-time students sometimes come to us and they're out of school for a while, or they've gone to several different schools before earning their degree. I have military folks who've been transferred from place to place and they have 6, 7, 8 institutions on their record. I want you just to know that we look at the entire academic record, and if there are any anomalies or weak points, you definitely want to highlight them in some kind of short addendum to the application, just letting us know a little bit about what was going on during your academics and your career.
Yeah, I want to get back to some more specifics about the LSAT and the timing of that and that sort of thing, but we have a question that's just come in about scholarships that are available are there scholarships available for individuals in the part-time program?
The answer is yes, actually. I think what I always try to tell students is this: there's not a separate pool of funds set aside for part-time students or full-time students. It is a large pool of funds. It's awarded to the most qualified candidates in the pool. And what does qualified mean? LSAT and cumulative undergraduate GPA. Those are the main factors that are considered for scholarships.
And so if an individual takes the LSAT exam and thinks, I've been out of school for a few years, I didn't do as well on this as I might have done, can you talk about the process of retaking and how those scores are evaluated from that point?
Yes. The students may take it more than once. You may not take it more than 3 times in a 2-year period. I don't encourage you to retest if you really gave it your all and you really felt great and you don't think there's anything more that you can do. if after reflection and self-assessment you think you might have a chance of doing better, perhaps you realized your weak areas and you know you can do more work in those, then maybe you take it again. And if you take it again, I will tell you that the average change from test 1 to test 2 is about 2 to 3 points increase. So you do have the law of averages in your favor. Now, if you take it more than one time, we take the high score. So if you take it a second time and you go down, we'll still take the high score. Years ago, we had to take the average. We don't take the average anymore. Now, for students who have a master's degree or a PhD, one of the questions I get on a regular basis is, can we waive the LSAT? And I'm so sorry, but the answer is no. Everybody has to take it.
And how does the part-time program compare with the full-time program and faculty and those sorts of things?
Well, it's the same curriculum. It's just sequenced differently, and it takes a little bit longer. You're going through really on a 4-year plan instead of 3 years. And you still have opportunities to participate in co-curricular and extracurricular activities up to, as much as your schedule will allow, of course. In terms of faculty, it is the same faculty. And when the College of Law voted on establishing a part-time program, that was the commitment the faculty made, that there would not be a separate hiring for part-time faculty, that the courses for the required curriculum, for example, would be taught by our regular tenured and tenure track faculty members. Now, as a law student, when you get into your upper level courses, whether you're full-time or part-time, you may be taught by adjunct professors. Adjunct professors are usually subject matter experts, such as a construction law attorney. It's a very specialized area of law, or water law, or something along those lines. But typically speaking, your required courses are taught by our faculty and visiting faculty members.
Let's go back and take a look at how many days a week you need to attend law school, what time classes usually start, and some of those questions.
Sure. Part-time students are typically coming to class Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday in the fall and spring semesters, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday that first summer.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Thursday for the first summer. That first summer is mandatory. It's a 7-week period plus 1 week for exams. It's a tough summer, but once you get through that, you don't have to attend any other summers, although many students choose to. Classes typically start around 6:15, and look, the faculty have to commute across one of the bridges themselves, Howard Franklin, Causeway, etc. They know that traffic happens here in the Bay Area. We get it.
Especially during spring break.
Especially during spring break. We get that. So the faculty are very understanding, and they know as a working professional that oftentimes you might be 5-10 minutes late because of that last phone call you had to take before leaving the office. So I think there's a little bit more of an understanding there. But there is still, of course, an attendance rule. We have policies, and one of the policies is that you have to attend 80% of your classes.
You have to show up?
You have to physically show up and sign in for 80% of your classes, and some professors are a little bit more strict. So if you have a job where you do a lot of travel, try to schedule your travel around your semesters. If you can't control for your travel, then we probably need to think about whether full-time is a better option for you, unless you can change positions.
I wanted to ask you about that. So a part-time student, at what time could they, if they wanted to wrap this up, so to speak, at what time could they roll into, and can they move into the full-time program?
Yeah, part-time students definitely can. We don't have a limit on the number of part-time students that can convert to full-time. Actually, we have some full-time students who ultimately convert to part-time because of great job opportunities. But part-time students may apply for conversion in the second fall semester for a spring full-time seat. So you would enroll fall, spring, summer, fall, and you would stay part-time, and then you could convert that second spring to full-time, allowing you to accelerate your degree and finish really in about 3 years and maybe a summer session.
We just had a question that came in, and those of you who are just joining us now, we invite you to do that and send us, type in your questions. If you're watching us on a tape delay, obviously send us an email and we'll get to that. And this particular question is, I'm the married father of 2, I'm working full-time, And they mentioned a specific scholarship. And this one was the Wilkes Scholarship. And I don't know if you have that information in front of you.
I could talk about a lot of the scholarships. I don't actually have the criteria for the Wilkes Scholarship at my fingertips or memorized. I'm so sorry. The College of Law administers both endowed and institutional scholarships. In fact, that's one of my other hats. And some of our scholarships are application-based and some are automatically awarded. Institutional scholarships are automatically awarded, and at the time of admission, you would be considered. The Wilkes Scholarship is not one that would be awarded at the time of admission. I would have to check it out, but I think it might be a different type of scholarship fund.
So we'll send us a quick email. We'll be able to get that. And we also have a question. One of the things that Stetson is very proud of is the fact that our students across the board volunteer more than 30,000 hours a year in pro bono or volunteer-related services. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to do 30,000 hours a year, but is that a requirement for the part-time students as well?
Absolutely. All students are required to do 60 hours of pro bono service throughout their time at the College of Law.
60 hours over the course of
the course of enrollment. In fact, we facilitate that, and we require at least 30 hours to be in a legal area. Now, what happens is we'll actually host a pro bono fair. It's pretty cool, and we have it during the lunchtime and in the evening, and students can go up and down the aisles, and the different agencies that host our students will have booths, like a career fair, recruitment fair. And you can start looking at the types of things that interest you for both legal related and non-legal related. But perhaps you're already involved in some kind of charitable organization now. Guardian ad litem tends to be very popular. Legal aid. If you're already doing volunteer work, there are often ways to convert some of that into your law school related pro bono. You just have to make sure you fit in your legal pro bono. Now, this was actually a student initiative, Frank. It used to be only 20 hours a week. Back in fall 2009, our student government came forward and requested that the College of Law increase the hours from 20 to 60 because they felt that the students could do more to serve society. And faculty as well at Stetson have to do pro bono, and it's something everyone embraces.
And I think that whether it's Habitat for Humanity or translation services or working with others in some capacity, most people that get involved in it find it a very rewarding experience. Another question that I got just before we came online was, do applicants need a letter of recommendation anymore? Is that still required?
They still do, actually, yeah, two.
Two.
Yep.
And so if somebody's been out of school for a while, what kinds of individuals might provide a letter or recommendation that has some weight to it?
That's actually a tough one because students frequently say, who do I ask? I don't know if I want my employer to know that I'm looking at law school, or I've been out of school 20 years. I can't possibly get a faculty member to write a letter. That's okay. If you're out of school more than a year or two and you went to a very large institution, I don't expect you to go back and find your professor.
Oh, they don't remember me.
They don't remember me. Now, if you kept in touch with your faculty members, by all means, please get a reference. If you have a master's degree and you had a good dialogue with your faculty member, by all means, ask them for a reference. If you're comfortable letting your employer know that you're looking at law school, definitely ask them for a good reference. If you're a volunteer in an organization, perhaps a volunteer supervisor. Perhaps you're active with your church or synagogue and the pastor or rabbi could write a letter. Someone who knows you well, someone who can write a very good letter of recommendation and can tell us why they believe you would be a very good attorney. We want to know more than just how nice and kind and sweet you are. We want to know if you have the skills, if you have what it takes to be successful in law school and in the practice.
Let's go back to the kinds of jobs that you think that people could have as an attorney. We mentioned one of our distinguished alums is Rich McKay, but I've told you this, that when I was in graduate schools, one of my roommates then, he never actually practiced law, but his career just shot like a bottle rocket as soon as he earned his JD. And let's talk about some of the opportunities that are available.
Well, I always tell people that the JD is a very, very versatile degree. Some people come in and they know they want to work in the courtroom. Some people know they want to work on wills and trusts. Some people want to work on environmental policy. Some people say, I want to own my own business and I think it will help me. Other people don't know what they want to do. And in law school, they're going to find their way. We have people who go into human resources. We have people who work with companies on risk management. We have people who go into higher education and work as a VP of legal and HR, or who work as faculty. We also see folks in the business world, folks working in financial services as well as the medical area. We have people who work in healthcare administration. And the law degree just tends to be a value added for many employers.
Do you recommend that if an individual is working with a company that they might approach their company about either some matching tuition opportunities or to explore the options that may not be well advertised?
Absolutely. You would be surprised at the number of companies who will say they'll pay for a master's degree but not the JD. Many of our students have argued very successfully that the courses they take in the part-time JD program would be a benefit to their employer and to their long-term tenure with the company. And we've actually had some folks whose employers have elected to provide tuition remission or tuition assistance. Please approach your company, look at the curriculum, look at the course description. You may find that a lot of our courses would fit nicely and an employer would be inclined to assist you in some way.
Let's talk about the campus culture just a little bit. And as we look at this wide shot, you can see the Plaza Mayor, or our courtyard, and this is the area where graduation is actually held. That's the tower, and this is a glimpse at our some footage of our campus that Stan put together. Dean Zuppo, talk about our culture here a bit.
That's probably a hallmark of a Stetson education, is the culture. Anyone who knows Stetson knows that we call ourselves the Stetson family, and we have an extraordinarily collegial environment here.
A swimming pool.
There's the pool, yes, and we actually have someone swimming in it. On Saturdays, it's actually really funny. A lot of times Saturdays or Sundays, you will actually see students or faculty there with their kids, people studying during lunchtime. Sometimes faculty will hold brown bag lunch review sessions by the pool or in another location. But one thing that I think sets Stetson apart in terms of its environment, its culture, is the camaraderie. In particular, in the part-time program, students tend to be very cohesive. We have one law professor, Professor Tim Kay. He'll frequently invite students to go out to the International Mall pub and have a drink after class and talk through some of the legal concepts that they've talked about in class. Or students will get together and carpool. They'll have picnics. Students here are competitive because that's the nature of law school, but they're not cutthroat. There's no hiding books in the library, tearing pages out of books.
I've heard that actually occurs in some other places.
It's occurred at schools over the years. I think people will really sort of censure each other and make sure it doesn't happen. They frown upon that student to student. It's not even something we deal with on a regular basis. I know of cases where a student's been sick, or sometimes students will have a sick child so they need to miss class, and their classmates will offer them their notes. That happens all the time. So I always say, make sure you offer your notes to the person next to you who's sick so you know you're going to get them when it's your turn. Because life happens. Life always happens.
As Stan was rolling that video, we certainly see the big swimming pool, but adjacent to that, there's a pretty extensive, for a lack of a better term, a workout area with all the latest equipment and the cardiovascular stuff and all that sort of thing. But upstairs, there's student life and career development. And we talk about career development because it is not just a listing of jobs. It teaches you much more.
Well, absolutely. I think that for the non-traditional working professional, while the campus amenities are great to know about, you often don't have a lot of time to take advantage of those. So you want to know more about the nuts and bolts. What's my job like? Return on investment. And our career development office does a great job. They're going to help you sort of parlay the skills you have in your current life into a successful and rewarding law school, legal career. They're great with working with you to develop a legal resume, helping you figure out what type of work would fit you best, what type of work is going to be the best in terms of financial return on investment, and so on. They hold workshops, and they hold them for the evening, part-time evening students, as well as over the lunchtime. They record them so you can watch them. They'll do mock interviews with you. If you haven't interviewed for a job in 20 years and you need to brush up on your interviewing skills, they will pair you with an alum, or they'll do it themselves, and they will grill you and get you ready for that interview. So career development is essential. The other part about career development that I think is really important for everyone out there to know is they have data. They have all the data you need. They can talk to you about growth areas and areas that aren't so strong, and they're always welcoming, and you can go there and sit down with them, even as a prospective student, and talk a little bit about your goals and whether law school is right, and they'll be honest with you.
We had a question that just came in, and that's, are we a wired campus, so to speak? What kind of technology is available on this campus? How hip are we, so to speak, in terms of the world of current communications?
All right, well, I think you can tell we're pretty hip with our Ustream channel here, live webinar. Frank and I are having a good time with this today. No, but we actually do have wireless across campus and at Tampa. Now, the faculty can turn that off in the classrooms. Unfortunately, people get a little distracted and start playing on some social media sites every so often, or checking their work email when they should be paying attention in class. But typically you have access to the internet, and faculty do incorporate technology into their teaching in many ways. Some of them use software called Blackboard, for example, to incorporate sort of web-based activities and assignments into their in-classroom methodologies. Some of them are going to have you do some research online and bring that into the classroom. And then we also offer a couple of classes online, as I mentioned earlier, and those are actually done very, very well, and are considered pretty good, and they're very popular amongst the students.
And so I see some of the professors walking as they're lecturing, they're hitting things on their iPad or smart tablet, and ups the screen, whether it's Supreme Court cases or a video of an oral argument and that sort of thing.
Well, students will learn how to use LexisNexis and Westlaw, and they will learn how to use less expensive and just and pretty robust technologies for legal research. Let's
go back. A brief synopsis of what those two are, very quickly.
And I may grab Carmen if I don't fully explain this properly.
Real short, just a synopsis.
If you're looking for a case and you're trying to figure out a case, you're writing a paper, doing a memo, you can go on there and do the research, hopefully find it, and read it online, versus going into the library and pulling out a book or something along those lines. Sound good, Carmen?
And that's a service that's provided to Stetson students.
Correct. Stetson students have that option. What we're trying to do is teach you how to do legal research efficiently, effectively. We don't want you to waste a lot of time, because if you are in a job that has billable hours down the road, you're not going to be able to bill for wasted time. You only have a limited number of minutes for certain tasks that you can bill, and so we want to make sure that by the time you leave here, you know how to do effective and efficient research.
We only have a few minutes left, so if you have some questions, we encourage you to type them in now, and we'll try to get to them. If you're watching this on a tape delay, it's a tape delay, so send us an email. We'll be able to, the admissions folks will be able to answer all of your questions. It's still spring, and are there time for guided tours and that sort of thing?
Oh, absolutely. If you want to come for a campus visit, we offer Gulfport tours Monday through Friday at 12 noon. The Tampa Law Center, if you want to visit TLC, you can meet with Carmen. She'll bop you around campus. It's one very, very beautiful building. We offer an open house every November, and that's on a Saturday. And you can always reach out to us and talk with us. I'm happy to stay a little bit later to talk with you. I actually see we have another techie question there.
And that was, are we Mac friendly?
And actually we are. You can use PC compatible or Mac. Some students will choose to use a laptop or an iPad and take notes, and it doesn't matter what type of software you use. We can support it.
Now, can someone who might be joining us just now, is it possible for an individual to transfer from one law school to our law school and transfer into the part-time program?
Absolutely. You can apply as a transfer to either our full-time or part-time evening program. We are going to look at your home law school academic record and your LSAT and your undergrad GPA and all of those other items. We're really looking at why you'd like to transfer here. And then what we do is we take a look at the grades you've earned, and if you meet certain standards, we can transfer up to 36 credit hours in from an ABA-approved law school and up to 29 credits from a state-approved law school, such as some of the schools in California, for example.
Now, recently, I saw Darren Kettles giving a great tour with some young people as they were walking about, and one of the questions I heard was, how well do you have to do on the LSAT to get into Stetson?
Well, we don't actually establish a minimum LSAT or GPA. We look at percentiles from the prior year as the guide. Our median was a 153 LSAT, and in the lower mid threes for the GPA. And what I always tell people is the median is just that. It's just the midpoint of all the students' LSAT scores who enrolled the prior year. You might have a little bit lower of a GPA and a higher LSAT, or you might have a higher GPA and a lower LSAT and still gain admission. We do read files very holistically, but the bottom line is you have to have evidence, right? You have to have evidence to support your case for admission. And the LSAT and the GPA are two of the biggest factors to help support your admission.
Let's talk about the deadlines. There are obviously some deadlines in everything we do in life. What are the absolute drop-dead deadlines that, you know, and I know
Absolutely.
that if there's an emergency, we can shift a tiny bit when somebody has a situation in their family or the loss of somebody they love or accidents or, God forbid, all the kinds of things that challenge
Absolutely.
us.
And when it comes to the admission deadline, we have a little bit of flexibility. The only place where we don't have flexibility is registering for the LSAT. If you're looking at fall 2014 and you don't register on time for the LSAT, and that's usually a few weeks ahead of the actual administration, we cannot accept you or allow you to apply for fall because that's the last test you can take.
And that's when again?
It's in June. It's usually early June. And I don't have that exact date. And Carmen is telling me June 7th.
Okay.
Okay, so your deadline to register is usually about mid-May for a June LSAT. So if you're even remotely thinking about fall 14, please go and register at the Law School Admission Council's webpage. It's lsac.org, and Darren will go ahead and type that onto the chat feed. That is really the only deadline that I'd have to stick I'd have to stay with. If you don't get your application in by May 15th and there's a really good reason, maybe you just came back from deployment or something, you've been in the hospital, we will work with you. Absolutely.
Let's talk about that. We're a very veteran-friendly campus and university and law school. And we have our Veterans Law Institute. We have a veterans clinic. And talk about what that's like working with our great vets and active military personnel.
I think our location, because we're so close to MacDill Air Force Base, we have the VA hospitals in Tampa and St. Petersburg and a lot of services in the community. We do attract a lot of vets in the area and beyond. We have a decent veterans population. It's probably larger than we realize. We probably serve in terms of benefits, because I'm one of the VA school certifying officials, we probably have anywhere from 30 to 40 in any given year vets and active duty military seeking benefits. And that's just the ones seeking benefits. We have more folks who have already used up their benefits. The environment here is good for a vet. It's good. There are some services. We have mental health counseling available for all of our students that's anonymous. Some really good resources in our community. We are a yellow ribbon supporting school.
What does that mean, a yellow ribbon supporting school?
There is a benefit available for folks who've served after 9/11, and it is the post 9/11 benefit, Chapter 33. And if you have 100% eligibility, which means you've served at least 36 months post 9/11, you'll probably be eligible for yellow ribbon scholarships. And it's a scholarship that is in part from Stetson and then matched by the VA. We award $5,000. The VA will match it at $5,000, plus award the almost $20,000 a year in Chapter 33 benefits, and it gets a student pretty darn close to covering their tuition.
So if a vet is interested in going to law school, it is a comfortable, friendly environment with other vets and other active military, and you'll
student
see
organization.
And student organization, and you'll see individuals in uniform and that sort of thing. We have a couple of questions here, Dean Zuppo. One is, I applied to LSAT.org a few years ago, paid them fees. Do I need to reapply? They could probably answer that better than you, but you want to help out?
You have only 5 years. If you applied longer than 5 years ago, you will have to resubscribe and have all of your materials resent. If you've applied in the last year or 2 years and you've had your transcripts, letters of rec sent there, they will have those on file. Your subscription, again, is valid for 5 years.
Okay, very good. And if you're just joining us at the tail end, we have about 6 to 7 minutes left. If you'd like to type in your questions, Dean Zuppo will be able to get those for you as soon as possible. If you're watching this on a tape delay, send your questions to the email address provided on the screen. We're talking about Stetson's part-time JD evening law program. And folks may be joining us fresh on their lunch break or had just remembered to tune in. So if you have any questions, type them in now, and we'll try to get them for you very, very quickly. Let's talk very, very quickly about, once again, when classes are, how often they have to attend classes. Well, we know they have to attend fairly regularly. It doesn't matter whether it's us or anybody else. But when the classes are, what the semester duration is like, and summer school real quickly.
Okay, so I'm going to, I guess, give sort of a synopsis. School starts in late August and it runs through early December. It's a very typical 13-week semester. You will be in school if you're a part-time student Monday, Tuesday, Thursday evening in the fall. Typically your 2 nights Tampa, 1 night Gulfport. The spring will likely be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, possibly 2 nights Gulfport, 1 night Tampa. It will change. Your classes will start approximately 6:15 in the evening and run until about 9:30 p.m. Faculty are available typically before and stay after class to meet with their students and often give out their cell or home phone numbers. In the summertime, the first summer is required. After that, it's optional if you want to go. It's about 7 weeks of instruction and 1 week for examinations. You're also taking 2 courses, and those are going to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So for 7 weeks in the summer, it's a tough schedule, but it is doable. And students often say it was one of the most intense but rewarding semesters. The second fall semester, you're typically doing the same thing, 3 nights a week, 6:15 or so, split between Gulfport and Tampa. Once you get through that second fall semester and you enter spring of your second year, you begin to have some more flexibility. You can stay part-time evening the whole way through. You could do part-time day and evening, or you can convert. You can apply for conversion to full-time. We have no limits on the number of people we allow to convert to full-time. We're looking at your academics and making sure that you understand you may not work more than 20 hours a week as a full-time student. And just don't forget, the location of classes is extremely important. You're going to be taking classes in Gulfport and Tampa. You have to be able to get to both locations.
We saw some footage on the screen just a moment ago, and that was some footage that Stan took of one of our active teaching courtrooms. And I think that's one of the things that Stetson prides itself on, is that practical, real-world experience. In case you're just joining us, this is a webinar about Stetson's part-time program. And a couple of recaps. Stetson was founded in 1900. Yep.
We're the oldest law school in the state. Actually, in 1908, we graduated the first female attorney in the state of Florida. And we were the first to develop clinical education. We are very, very proud of our successes. We are ranked #1 in the nation for advocacy 16 times and counting. We're #6 for legal writing and have been in the top since they started that particular ranking. We're actually ranked number 93. We're a top 100 law school nationally, and we're quite proud of that. I know we're getting ready to wrap up here, but I just like to say that Stetson's culture, our community, our staff is very warm and welcoming. We hope that you'll come take advantage of that and meet with us and sit in on a class, take a tour, talk with your future classmates and colleagues, and get to know us a little bit better. What we want is to make sure that once you start at Stetson, you graduate. You graduate and you pass the bar on the first time. That's our goal.
So we have about 30 seconds
Okay.
left, Dean Zuppo. So how would you like to close? And what can folks do at this point to reach you?
Well, you can reach us. We're going to have a screen roll through after we close with all of our contact information. Darren, would you be so kind just to put up my email for me, please? Darren's going to go ahead and post my email up there. I'm zuppo@law.stetson.edu. Shoot me a little note. And also, why don't you just come for a visit? That's how I would love to close, is we want to meet you, get to know you. This is the kind of place where people know your name. You are not an ID number.
Dean Zuppo, thank you very much. We really appreciate you joining us today, and we encourage you to send an email, pick up the phone the old-fashioned way, send a snail mail, whatever you'd like. Stetson's part-time JD program is unique. No other one like it in the country. And Dean Zuppo, thanks for answering
Thanks,
all
Frank.
those questions.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day, everybody. Thanks so much.
Thank you for watching Stetson Law Live. For more information, send us an email or give us a call. For your convenience, our contact information will remain on screen for the next few minutes. Be sure to check our homepage often for news, information, and updates. Thanks again. We look forward to hearing from you soon.